Okay, good afternoon. Good morning. Looks like almost afternoon. Well, I really want to thank Dr. Kittel for giving such a wonderful presentation, and I really want to pick up on what he said and build on it. As you heard in his presentation, so really all of us have a mind and body, and we have to deal with that issue. How to live for the sake of others, how to become people of good character. Now, I want to go into the second aspect, which is the pair system principle, which deals with the relationship of man and woman, or plus and minus. In the Chinese philosophy, we talk about yang and yin, that we have, everything exists in complementary pairs. Like we can see that particles, they cannot exist unless they have positive and negative aspects. Also atoms, they have protons and electrons, plus and minus, and only through that give and take relationship between plus and minus can they exist. The same is true in molecules. We have cation and anion, or for example in plants we have the stamen and the pistil. Again, plus and minus, male and female. Now when you look at the plant world, like you see here in Philippines, in Asia, we have this all over the world variety of beautiful flowers in all shapes, all colors, all sizes, but they have something in common. What is that? Plus and minus, stamen and pistil. And unless stamen and pistil have give and take, no fruit will come, no multiplication. And the same principle we will find in the animal world. You know, we have male and female, and again, without the unity of male and female, no offspring. And that is true for the largest animals like lions and tigers, or the deers, and even the small housefly or the ladybird. All have the same principle, male and female, and we exist in that relationship and we reproduce. Now that is also true for human beings. When we look around the room, you will see either there's a man next to you or a woman. If there would be something else, you would be very surprised, right? When parents expect the new baby, they know either it will be a boy or a girl. That's the only question. Is it boy or girl? So everything exists in pairs, male and female, plus and minus. Now what is the difference? In the mineral world, the relationship between plus and minus is for the sake of existence, whereas in the plant world, the relationship between male and female is for the sake of reproduction. In the animal world, of course, it is for the purpose of existence and reproduction, but there's another element of pleasure in this male and female relationship. Now, what is unique about the relationship between man and woman? Of course, all these other elements of existence, reproduction, and pleasure are included in the relationship between man and woman. But what is unique? What is special? And as Dr. Kittel said, that human beings, what makes us different from the animal world or plant, mineral world, is that we have freedom. So there's freedom in the relationship between man and woman. Animals, they mate, but it's only according to seasons. It is by instinct, guided by natural law. But human beings, we are not like this. We can have sexual relationship between man and woman any time of the year, any time of the day, any time of our life. But what is unique? This relationship, the purpose of this relationship is to become the image of God. That man and woman together, united, become the image of God. I can tell you, when I came as a young student to Asia 40 years ago, And actually my first country was India. And what really touched me, that uniformly the Indian kids told me, for us, our parents are God. And then I went to Sri Lanka, I went to any country in Asia, and the same culture. That is the beauty of the Asian culture. For the children, parents are God, and that's the way God created us. Mother Moon, in one of her speaking tours in North America, she went around and she told the people, she said, we marry in order to resemble God. God exists as a being of dual characteristics. Thus, husband and wife together are a reflection of God's original image and nature. So husband and wife together are the image of God. A husband, a man alone, is just 50% God. So no matter how handsome and powerful and smart you are, sorry, I have to disappoint you, you are only 50% God. But the same thing is true for us ladies. No matter how beautiful we are and how much we can talk, but still, alone, we are only the other 50% of God. So we need each other to become complete, to become the full image of God, to become the complete image of God. Man needs woman, woman needs man. And that is what all the religious traditions teach us. When we look at the Bible in Genesis 1:27, it says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. And the Quran speaks about it in many ways. For example, in the Surah 51:49, it says, and of everything we have created pairs, that ye may receive instruction. And he said, and have we not created you in pairs? So here the Quran says everything, not something, but everything exists in pairs. And for what purpose? So that we learn from it. So we need to think, what should we learn from it? What is God trying to teach us by creating everything in pairs? Now let's look at the Chinese philosophy. The Book of Changes says one yang and one yin. This is the Tao, the way. And we will talk more about this rally in Taiwan, but I love this. One of the young participants in the rally against same-sex marriages, she wrote on her face, made in daddy and mommy. You know, when you go to the kids, every kindergarten kid will tell you, I need mommy and daddy. If you ask them, do you want mommy or daddy? What will a kid say? Everyone will say, both. We need both. Children know this. I need mommy, I need daddy. And I was created, I was born through the love of mommy and daddy. No one can change it, no matter what kind of law we will establish. But this is natural law. This is a law created by God. And so the Bhagavad Gita, the holy book of the Hindus, says, I, God or Krishna, I'm the father and the mother of the universe. So God is not only our heavenly father, but God is also our heavenly mother. And when you look at modern theology, now more and more people become interested in discovering the heavenly mother, the mother aspect of God. And because God is both our heavenly father and heavenly mother. And in Hinduism, it is very visible, very clear. You know, when I went to some of the temples, and this is one in Delhi, Artanareshwar, that when you look carefully, the God, the statue of God, shows on one side the male aspect, Shiva, and the other side, Parvati, the female side. So you have always Shiva and Parvati, Vishnu and Lakshmi. You know, you have always the two sides together, male and female. Or maybe in the Shiva Lingam, it's not only the Shiva Lingam, the male part, but it's also the yoni, the female part. And God is the unity, the union of both. God is not only male, not only female, but God is the unity of both. And in Buddhism, the Mahaparinibbana Sutta tells us that Buddha is both the father and mother to the people of the world. Now, the Quran tells us that God created everything in pairs so that we can learn from it. And the Bible said that we are created in the image of God. So let's look at God's nature that we should reflect. And I think all of us will agree that God is absolute, unchanging, and eternal. So the oneness, it's not there's a male God and a female God, but what it means, the nature of God is both. In Quran, when I was giving this lecture at the Islamic State University in Jakarta, then the principal was saying, out of the 99 names of God, some of them describe God's masculine character, his almightiness, all powerfulness. And then other aspects, other names of God describe the feminine aspect, the mercy, the compassion, the kindness. So God is both. It's male and female, masculine and feminine in oneness, in absolute, unchanging, and eternal oneness. Now then, we as man and woman need to reflect that nature. If we are to become the image of God, then the love of a man and woman needs to be absolute, unchanging, and eternal. That bond between a husband and wife has to be absolute, unchanging, and eternal. Then we can fully resemble the nature of God. And so this is, and how do husband and wife, man and woman become one? That is through sexuality, through the sexual love. And that's why human sexuality is holy and sacred. It's not only the origin of love, but actually through the love of the father and the mother, the child is created. So it's the origin of love, life, and lineage. And Father Moon tells us that actually lineage is most important, because love and life will die in one generation when we go. But lineage will be the legacy that will remain on earth even after we have left this earth. And so Father Moon tells us that marriage joins the life of one man and the life of one woman and the life of one man. In time, through children, it joins the lineage of the man and the lineage of the woman. It thus begins a history, a nation, the world, and the kingdom of heaven on earth. So this love between man and woman joins a lineage. It creates, Father Moon says, it creates history, it creates the nation. It's the beginning of the kingdom of heaven on earth. This is very different from popular culture today. Today, young people, they grow up like with our generation, maybe we grew up with the Beatles song, love is all you need. Anytime, just love. Never talk about marriage. Did you hear many pop songs talking about marriage and fidelity and lifelong commitment? No, popular culture today only talks about love. They forget what is the purpose of love. Is to join a man and woman together, their life, their family, their lineages, to become one. So Dr. Kittu was telling me that actually in America at an earlier age, before the pop culture, we had the musicals. And there was a song, love and marriage go together as a horse and carriage. That's the way it should be. Love and marriage should go together like a horse and carriage. Love and marriage, not just love. Why? Why? Because it creates the lineage. The lineage is what creates history, what builds nations. And I want to give you a very practical example. And this is based on historical research. There was a very infamous man in America, Max Jukes. He was an immigrant that arrived in New York. In the early 1700s, he was an agnostic, means he didn't believe in God. He was an alcoholic who couldn't hold a job and married a prostitute. Jukes believed in the abolition of laws and rules and formed a movement that preached free sex. He was 200 years ahead of his time. Already at that time, he preached free sex and he practiced it. Now let's look then what happened to his lineage. But before I show you, I want to compare his lineage, his legacy, with another man who lived at about the same time, Jonathan Edwards. And he was America's most important and original philosophical theologian. He was the first president of Princeton University and one of the key religious leaders of the great religious awakening in America. So he was a very religious, moral man. Now let's look at the lineages of these two people, and you will be surprised. They were able to trace 903 descendants of Max Jukes, and they found that 310 of them were delinquents who never finished school and died in poverty. 145 of them were confirmed drunkards, 190 public prostitutes, 285 had sexually transmitted diseases, 150 spent an average of 13 years in prison, and 7 were convicted murderers. Now, his descendants, they cost the state of New York $1.25 million. So his lifestyle was not just a private matter. It affected the state, the nation. If we live lives like Max Jukes, how much money the government, our nation, will have to spend to deal with the disastrous results of our actions. Now let's look at Jonathan Edwards. They were able to trace 1,394 descendants. Out of them, 13 were college presidents, 65 college professors, 30 judges, 100 lawyers, 60 physicians, 75 were Army and Navy officers, 100 pastors, 60 prominent authors, 80 public servants in other capacities, including governors and ministers to foreign countries. 3 of them became senators in the United States, and 1 of them became vice president of the US. Now that is a different legacy. That is what I call nation building. So really, nation building begins with family building. Healthy families is what will build healthy and moral and prosperous societies. So Father Moon, in his autobiography, he said immorality and licentiousness in the personal lives of adults ultimately destroy the lives of their children. The reason today's society does not have a level of happiness to match its level of material affluence is that families are being destroyed. If money, material possessions could create happiness, we should be the happiest generation that ever lived on earth. But the statistics show otherwise, that often the countries with the highest GDP, like Switzerland, like Sweden, have the highest suicide rate. Even within India, they have so many states. They found out that the states with a higher income are also the states with a higher suicide rate. You would think it's the states with the lowest income. They have the highest suicide, but no. Material development does not guarantee happiness. And what Father Moon teaches us, that the root, the source of true happiness, True fulfillment, satisfaction in our lives comes from the love in our families. So therefore, Father Moon is always teaching us. We all dream about true love. We sing about true love. We write about true love. But how do we realize it? It should not be only a dream. It should become a reality in our daily lives. And he says the key to true love is absolute sex. He said that's the solution to free sex. Absolute sex means that you are absolutely pure before your marriage. Young people, and we have to teach the young generation the way to prepare for happy marriages that will last is by being abstinent. Now today, young people think, oh, we have to practice. Having relationships is practice, is seeing whether we are compatible. Let's see, let's have experience. No, dating culture is not preparation for marriage. Dating culture is preparation for what? Divorce. You get intimate and then you break up. You get intimate to another person, break up. That's divorce. That's not practice for marriage. It's not preparation for marriage. It's preparation for divorce. So what we have to teach the young people is the importance of purity. Pure love. When you see Father Moon's activities throughout the world, everywhere, we teach number one for the young people. Pure love. You have to practice pure love. And then, when you get married, you can experience true love and fulfillment in your marriage. But that is based on your marriage vow. That is based on the absolute commitment to keep fidelity to your spouse. So we say it's one man, one husband, one wife for life. That is the way of true love. Because true love, do you dream, I want to have true love for 3 weeks and then over? Or true love for 3 years enough? 30 years enough? No, of course not. I want to be with my true love forever, unchanging, eternal, absolute. That is the nature of true love. And that is why we have to teach young people before you are ready to make that commitment. To be able to experience true love in your marriage, you have to prepare yourself. And so our marriage blessing ceremony, the festival we are going to participate in tomorrow, is really to help to families to practice and experience true love, for parents and leaders to be the models. Because how can we teach young people, you should be pure? But then I, as a married person, have a secret wife, maybe one in, Java and one in Sumatra, or one in here in Manila and one in Mindanao. How can young people ever trust us? How can they believe us? No, we have to be the model, we have to be the example, and then our young people will automatically, willingly follow our example because they see the happiness that we experience. And they will wait for marriage because they want to be as happy as mommy and daddy. They want to have their own happy families. So we as elders, as leaders, and as parents have to be the model and the example. And through our example, we can teach the next generation. So with this, I want to conclude, and I hope we will be able to talk more about it, how we all can create loving families. Thank you very much.